Everyone, welcome to the webinar today. We're going to help you find your perfect carpool match, hopefully. And so I know that most of us are aware of a lot of the benefits of carpooling, but just to go over some of these perks, of course, it's a great way to cut costs, save on gas and whatnot, but you can also save quite a bit of time depending on where you're coming from. And we found through quite a few studies that people who use a sustainable mode, such as carpooling, actually have reduced stress levels. So that's another great benefit. And of course, it's a good way to reduce your footprint and really work towards ensuring a healthier future. And so everybody who can hear me who had their hands up, you can go ahead and put your hand down as well now. So we'll be going through the Smart Commute Tool, which is a free perk to every employee at Smart Commute Business on finding sustainable mode options. Today we'll be touching on the carpool one, and I would encourage everyone to save their questions until the end. And so we'll pass it on to Caitlin now to run you through the demo.
Okay, hi everyone. So I'm going to access the landing page of the Smart Commute Tool, and the website address is explore.smartcommute.ca for those of you who aren't familiar. This is what the landing page looks like, and here is where you can either log in or register. So for those of you who don't have accounts, you want to click register, and you have two options when you're registering. You can sign in through Facebook or with an email address. So I'm going to click email address today. And here's where you enter your name, your email address. You can create a password, your home and work postal codes, and here is also where you can search and join networks. So a network is a group of users that are from the same workplace or school. So for example, if I work at Toronto and Region Conservation, I can simply type in my workplace into the bar and click it, and now you'll see that I've joined the Toronto and Region Conservation Network. Also, be sure to review the terms and conditions and privacy policy, and then you can agree in order to register. But since I already have an account, I'm not going to register again. I'm going to log in through my account now. Okay, so we will move on to the dashboard, and this is kind of the main platform where you can access all of the functionality of the Smart Commute Tool. So we'll just do an overview of all of the elements on the dashboard, and then we'll go through them in more detail. So to the top left, this is kind of your overview of your trips, any badges you may have earned, and you here can access your profile through this Edit Profile button, which we'll go through later. You can also access your statistics, and to see, so that shows you the details of all of your trips. So also on the dashboard, we have a trip logging area. We have, you can see a list of the top commuters to the bottom right, and we also have an area for your favorite trips. That's a very important area that we'll discuss shortly. But first, what we're going to do is search a trip. So I'm going to search a workplace commute, and I'm going to enter in my A, which is my starting point, and my B, which would be my destination. And you'll notice that when you're searching, the Smart Commute Tool searches for that address in real time. So you'll see a list of options down here. You can click on the appropriate one. And you'll also see that a check mark appears. So that means that the Smart Commute tool has recognized that address. If you don't see the check mark, you'll have to try again. And then click Let's Go to start the search. So here are our search results now, we can see. And to the far left, along this panel, you have all of your alternative transportation modes. So Carpool is at the top. The Smart Commute tool will also provide you guidance about walking routes, cycling routes, transit routes through the website TripLinks, and a driving route. But today we're just going to focus on carpooling. So I'll click on carpooling again. And this list here is a list view of all of your potential carpool matches. And you also see these matches reflected here on the map view. Just one thing to note on the map, you see different kinds of circles here. Sometimes you just have an icon of a person, and sometimes you have a number. So those numbers mean, or rather, those numbers are how many matches are at that location. So as you zoom in, you can see that things split up a bit. So you can either find out more details about a match by clicking on the icon or by clicking on the list. So I'm going to start with the list over here. So when I click on an individual, you can see their route comes up in blue. And one other thing to mention before I get too far into this is that when you're viewing your list here, you can view your options as a rider or as a driver. So depending on what your preference is, you can toggle between those two fields and you may see different options. So we'll go back to viewing as a rider. So I've clicked on Sam here. And I'll just go through some of these details here. So Sam is the driver, and this number here, that is the distance that the driver has to travel to pick you up. So Sam is very close. He's only about 1 minute away, so he looks like he would be a great match. You can also see details about their schedule if they've chosen to enter that, and any other details about their commute. Here we can see Sam works from 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. So that's a good kind of overview. And then if you'd like to connect with Sam, you simply click the connect button and you're able to send an email to that person. You can see there are several matches, so I won't go through them all, but that's the idea of how to search and connect with a potential match. To resume the map view, I can just click on Sam one more time, and now I'm back to the original search results. Now, the default search for the Smart Commute tool is to search all networks. So that's all of the users that have signed up to the tool from various workplaces. If you would like to narrow in your search a bit, you can go to, in the Carpool tile, you can click the drop down and change to just search your workplace network. So if I work at Sanofi, and now we can see that my results have narrowed, but all of these matches will be from my workplace and traveling to the same destination. And another thing to note is even though some matches may look a little bit far away, it's still always a good idea to contact that person. You may be able to work out a carpooling arrangement even on some days. Okay, and if after all of this you still haven't found an ideal match, another important thing you can do is share your trip. And when you share your trip, this allows other users to view your trip in their search results. So it's a great way to connect with people. So I will go through that now. So we click Share Your A to B. So basically this creates what's called a favorite trip that saves your trip to your dashboard so you can easily access it, and also enables you to share your trip with others. And just to be aware, your full address is never shared with any other users. So to create a favorite trip, you can enter in additional details about your commute and your preferences. So it has saved my search from Ajax Go to 1755 Steeles Avenue West. We can also enter in our preferences about whether we're a driver or a passenger. Over here in this area, you can enter the days of the week that you work by clicking on the days, and you can adjust your start and end times as necessary. If you have flexible hours, be sure to click this box here. And at the bottom, we have a few additional options. So you can choose who you prefer to commute with. I'm going to keep it with anyone. And you can choose who your trip is shared with. So the default is the entire network, but if you are more comfortable just starting out with people from your own workplace, then choose Selected Networks, and then you can choose the appropriate network. Then click Save. And now when I go back to the dashboard, you can see I have a favorite trip now, saved in my favorite trip area. One thing to note about your favorite trip, you will be given a Carpool ID number, which is here. And if you would like other people to join your carpool, you can give them this number, and they would type that in this join box to the top right. Similarly, if you'd like to join another person's carpool, you can enter in their ID here as well. And if for any reason you need to edit your favorite trip, maybe you've moved or your office has relocated, you can click on the star. Then you're taken back to this menu where you can adjust your preferences. So a few other things to note. I'll just briefly go over logging your trips. So logging trips is a great way to track your sustainable transportation choices. It's also a great way to participate in various contests run by Smart Commute throughout the year. So often if we have a contest, all you need to do is log a trip here to be automatically entered. So how that works is you select the day, and then in this area to the right, you can enter the details about your trip. So I'm going to choose my favorite trip. We can adjust departure and end times. It automatically calculates the one-way distance, and you can choose your mode of travel. So I'm going to select Carpool, then click Log. Now that trip will be saved to your logs, and a nice feature of the tool is as you log more trips, you'll get badges for the amount of trips that you've done with various modes. So you can really see your progress over the year. And one last thing to go through is the profile. So you have two ways to edit your profile. You can click this Edit Profile button right here. You can also access your profile using the drop-down menu next to your name and choosing Edit Profile. So there is an option to enter some of your personal details if you choose. You can also view your statistics here, your commuter profile, and your networks. And this is an important area. If you didn't join a network when you registered for the tool, you can join one here. So by clicking Find and Join Networks, you can join an additional network. You can also remove any unwanted networks here as well. So that about wraps up the demo. I'm just going to hand things back over to Kushbal. She's going to give you a few additional tips for carpooling success, and then we'll take some questions at the end.
Okay, great. Thank you, Caitlin, for that demo. I think it went into the tool quite well. So yes, before we move into the questions portion, we're going to just show you a few extra tips in case you need them. So on our website, which is smartcommute.ca-North Toronto Vaughan, you'll see the landing page. You'll get me there, click on Carpool. Now, some of these benefits and whatnot we've already gone into, but additional perks that we have as being members of the Smart Commute program is something called the Emergency Ride Home program. So I know that oftentimes trying a new mode, particularly carpooling, can be a little nerve-wracking. You may not know if you might have issues getting home or if it would work out for you. So in case of situations where, let's say, your carpool partner has to go home early and you're stranded at work and you have to take a taxi home, Smart Commute will reimburse your trip home up to $75. So it's a nice cushion insurance. You can view it to encourage people to try sustainable modes and give carpooling a chance. So I know we went over some of these tips, or sorry, benefits, but some of the carpool tips that if you want to learn a little bit more about how to split up the cost, how to maintain a carpool, there's some good suggestions here. We even have a few carpool partners that are highlighted on our website, so feel free to check that out. That's just a little bit of that. And now we'll go into questions or comments that you might have. Feel free to, if you like, if you want to unmute yourself and enter in the questions, you can do that. Or you can simply enter your questions into the chat function. I'm going to pass it back to Caitlin to go back to the Smart Commute tool if you would like us to sort of search your commute or anything else that you might have.
Okay, so if anyone has any questions, maybe the easiest way would be to either raise your hand or, as Kushbal said, type it into the chat. So I'll just wait a minute and see if anyone would like to ask any questions. Okay, so we have one question asking about a route going from St. Clair West Station to York University. So I'll just search that now. We can go through that. So we'll type in St. Clair West subway station. That's not quite recognizing. See, we're not getting the check mark here, so we'll have to modify our address a bit. Okay, we've got a specific address now, so we'll just type in 82 Warren Road. There we are. And now we see the check mark, so we know that that's been recognized. And we're going to York University, Keele campus. So we see we've got several results here. So again, here is your origin, the A, and your destination B. And depending on whether you're a rider or a driver, you can see you have several options. We are searching all networks. If you are a student at York University, you could also change your search to only the York network, if that would work better for you. Another quick thing to point out that I missed earlier was the revise search button here. So if you'd like to edit your search slightly, you can simply click revise search and you can change the date and time. Sometimes that will give you different options as well. So I hope that helps. Are there any additional questions? Okay, so we've got a question here. When logging trips, can multiple dates be selected for the same type of trip? That's a really good question, and the answer is yes. So I'll just show you that. We'll go back to the dashboard. And you can select as many days as you'd like. You can see here, I can click down all of these days. I could do a week, a month, however many dates I'd like. As long as it's the same trip, I can use my favorite trip and just log those trips. So that's a really good point. Yes, you can log multiple days at once. That makes things easier. Oh, there's just a bit of a conflict because I already logged one, but you get the idea. Was that the one? Here we are. And look, I've earned another badge for 10 carpool trips. Okay, are there any further questions? Just wait one more minute to see if any others come through. Okay, so it doesn't look like we have any more questions. So just 1 second here. If you do think of questions after the fact, I'll just put up our contact information and you're welcome to get in touch. So we can be reached at smartcommute.ntv.ca. Our email is info@smartcommute.ntv.ca, or give us a call at 647-539-8576. Thanks very much for joining us, and happy carpooling.